Hey everybody, Nick here, and today I got a review for you of this very interesting little briefcase right here, which is actually a very interesting huge briefcase, but nevertheless, this is the Saddleback leather front pocket briefcase. First off, I want to apologize, this doesn't actually fit on my review table, so here we are under my desk. Next thing, size comparison. This is a big old freaking briefcase. First off, of course, for the channel, this is a Spyderco Delica. It is really freaking big. Here it is against a standard US dollar bill, so you can see here again, very large, although you won't have many of these left if you buy it, so compare it now. And then here it is against the standard American foot. So there you go. Next thing, let's go on ahead and talk a little bit about the company. This is Saddleback Leather. They are a company that has risen to prominence among the sort of boutique leather folks on the internet for both easy accessibility, etc. And this is their tobacco colored leather. This is tobacco. They have other colors, like this guy here, which is in chestnut leather. But nevertheless, that's a very interesting color, I guess. Very kind of cowboyish. Then finally, I want to introduce the elephant in the room because boy is he loud and stampede-y. And that is, this is a $720 briefcase right here. So anyways, let's go ahead and talk about the good, the great, the bad, and the ugly of this very interesting, very large briefcase right here. To start with on the good side, one thing that I like seeing immediately when I open this guy up is this little area right up at the top here. What this is a stiff little, I don't actually know what this is. It might be metal, it might be wood. Feels metalish, but whatever it is a solid surface to which the handle attaches. It's not just the case that the handle is being, is like pulling up on 2 points in the leather, which will distort it over time, but what this means is that when you lift it by this, it's lifting by the bulk of the briefcase. It's distributing the weight well, and that's a really nice thing for long-term longevity. Sometimes you'll see a wooden dowel laid into the top of a briefcase. That can be a good thing, but this is another approach to it, and it works really well, so I'm glad to see it. Next thing, let's talk about this big strap here. They generally comes with two of these big strap guys, so that you can put one on either side of your shoulder, but it's nice, it's got some padding, it feels actually quite nice. It is a major difference using this guy versus just the leather, but the strap itself is pretty good. Not only does it have very nice hardware on this guy, complete with, rotations and easy detachments, things like that, but it also has a great deal of adjustability. You can adjust this from any freaking length. This will fit a very large individual, it will fit a very small individual, and it'll fit pretty much any height at which you want to carry this on your body, and so that strap has a lot of options there. Speaking of a lot of options, this actually has another option that I'm not aware of from other briefcase makers, which is to turn this into backpack mode. In order to do this, you have to undo this, and then you slide this out and put it through this little area right here, and then you redo it at whatever length works best for you. And then at that point in time, you actually have two straps that can be over either of one of your shoulders, that is, and allow you to carry this briefcase like a backpack. Now, you may be thinking, well, Nick, that's dorky as hell. Why would I ever do that? Well, that's what the wife asked about it, but at the same time, I can see areas where it would be advantageous. For instance, if you're not planning to access your briefcase for a while, but you're needing to carry it a long distance, maybe you're traveling or something like that, you need your hands, you're going to have your hands full, etc. That can be a very nice option to have, and the fact of the matter is, if you're not using it, it doesn't really obtrude. You just have this little guy over here, which provides another grab point for it, and other times, it's just kind of an option. So, I like the fact that they're offering that. That's cool. Next thing, pocket-wise, oh my god, does this thing have pockets. You've got a pocket going on back here. You've got a pocket going on right here. You've got a pocket going on right here. You've got pockets here and here as well. I believe you have a hidden pocket underneath the bottom of one of these guys. In here someplace, which is a good thing. Maybe that's just on the newer ones. But either way, you have pockets behind here. Behind each of these pockets, you have the pockets that are actually the pockets here. You've got a pocket between these pockets, and you've got a pocket over here, as well as a pocket over here. I mean, holy crap, that's a lot of pockets. And what this basically means is that you can organize your life however you see fit with this guy. Sometimes you get bags that are just like one single sack. And they're fine, but that means you have to have a lot of other little organizers. But with this guy, it was actually quite nice because I could throw, various dongles, things like that I'm using for my everyday life into different areas, and they wouldn't mix, and life would be good. This little area, by the way, is very nice because what I often found myself doing is clipping a pen right here and a flashlight right here, and that way they were just right there, easy, accessible, nice. So I like the pocketation of this very much. Speaking of which, this is capacious. This has all sorts of freaking capacity. I mean, seriously, look at this. I can put, a non-trivial portion of myself into this bag. I mean, that's maybe a joke, but at the same time, I mean, holy crap, guys, this thing is freaking huge. I can get my entire foot in here and my head. There was never a time when I was carrying this bag where it was like, no, I need to use a backpack. No, you can just stick it in. You can put everything in there. This will hold a laptop of pretty much any size. My 13-inch laptop was just swimming in this freaking thing. And back when I had like 17-inch workstation affairs, this would work just fine there too. So that's a little bit nuts, I gotta say. Next thing, the handle on this guy is really, really nice. Not only is it made of leather, but it's got a lot of stiffness to it, but it's got a lot of rounding to it. It feels great in the hand. Grabbing this, there's enough padding. It's spread out over a big enough area that I like using this handle. And one thing to note is that when the handle isn't in use, it kind of tucks away down here. It's not constantly flopping around on you or anything like that. It is extraordinarily well done. It's excellent work. This little area right here is just like, yes, I respect every part of that. Because it's held on by both these guys into leather, these guys into the metal down below, and the D-rings. Just well done there. Next thing, the leather on this guy is quite nice. This has actually been in use for a long time. Not just by me, in fact, not by me. I've probably used this guy for a week and change, but by my buddy Nathan, who used this for many years. And you can see it's got some scars. It's got some battle wear, but that's the fact of natural leather. But you can see here it's got some nice, right there. You've got a little bit of the, I believe it's called lift up or pull up or something. I'm not a leather expert yet. Well, probably never will be, let's be real here. But either way, you get a sense that this is really high-quality leather, and it's very durable, and it's also very, very thick, allowing it to develop just a solid patina and to age gracefully rather than looking uglier and uglier over time. The leather on this is really, really nice and way outpaces a lot of the leather that you'll see on just generalized, like, oh, a Coach bag, that kind of leather good. This is a very different tier, and that's great. Next thing, they've got a warranty on this guy that is very good, at least on paper. I say on paper just because I've never had to use it, but then again, I wouldn't have because I only recently bought one of these of my own. But the thing is, they are willing to help, with any manufacturer defect, but they also have a section on the website where they talk about if you screwed it up for some reason, just send it to us, let us know what we can do to help. They may fix it either for a fee or for free, and that's great. I love the idea that, for instance, if I were to accidentally, injure my bag in some way, shape, or form, they might be able to help me out and bring my bag back to health. It's not like warranty issue because I screwed up, but it adds a durability in the long term to a piece of gear when I know that, if there's a problem, the maker will stand behind and will help me to make it back to health. Even if I have to pay a little money compared to what you're putting in to buy a new one, that's great. So I like that very much. Next thing, the hardware on this guy is great. Honestly, every damn part of this bag, I feel like I could probably support my body weight from. I mean, these pieces of hardware are great. These O-rings are serious business. I mean, seriously, they're like welded shut here. I mean, this is absolutely amazing hardware. I'm a big fan of it, and it looks pretty classy too, with the shininess and the reflectivity and things like that. So that's excellent. Next thing, this guy really does look very classy. I'm a big fan of that. This bag got me a lot of compliments and comments. It's partly because it's a little bit big on me, and I think a number of people commented on that as well. But even just among people, like, this is a really classy bag. It's got a little bit of cowboy thing going on. I mean, yeehaw, and particularly in the tobacco leather here, but at the same time, it's classy as crap. And that's great. Way classier than I have any right being. So, to me, all of that is the good, is that it looks really classy. It's got nice hardware. It's a very good warranty, at least on paper. I haven't tried it yet. Very nice leather that's, just really well done overall. Beautiful handle, holds everything. Lots of pockets for organization. It gives you the backpack option as well. Huge strap length adjustment, and then you've got that inlaid area under the handle here that keeps it stiff over the long term there. On the great side, honestly, this bag feels exceptionally well built to me. Given I am not a high-end leather critic, although I've spent a fair amount of time looking at it at this point, but still, I'm not seeing issues with stitching. I'm not seeing areas, frankly, I'm not seeing points of failure. There's nothing on this that I'm looking at it and just like, wow, that's going to fall off in a few weeks. Everything that requires, attaching is generally attached both with rivets as well as with stitching, which is great. They're just doing a really good job of making this bag reinforced, making it durable. This is a bag that I really do believe will last for a long time if you take good care of it. The stitching is great. They've just, it seems like they have clearly, even the bottom of it is designed well so that it sits on these seams rather than on the it's well freaking done. And so I see no sign that this is going to be non-durable or that there are points of weakness in it. Maybe I'm missing them. Let me know in the comments if I am. But really, this just feels like it's going to be in it for the long game. On the bad side, first off, the backpack mode thing. When I read about that online, I was thinking to myself, oh, that's great. That means you just need to unclip here, then slide it through. And then, but the problem is, unfortunately, this little part right here will not fit through this little hole. So what that means is that no matter what you do, and if you move it into backpack mode, you need to fully unbuckle this guy and feed it back through. Is it a big deal? No, but it does make that a little bit more of a hassle and not something that I found myself doing on a regular basis because, well, yeah, I didn't need it to. Next thing, there is relatively slow access to pretty much everything. So I'm going to go ahead and buckle everything up right quick for us here. And you can see, let's see here. And by the way, note that you've got a fair amount of flex. So even if you've got these pockets absolutely stuffed to the brim, they'll still close and they'll still close securely, which is a nice thing. But as you're doing this, as you're carrying this, and as you, for instance, on your way home or something like that, or you're headed to your next meeting, I found it a little bit slow to access anything because in order to get to anything, you're having to, particularly if you feed it through, unfeed it, pull back, pull up, then reach in, set it down, grab something, as opposed to on a backpack where it's just like zip, grab, zip, and case closed. There's a ritual there. That's the silly way to put it. But, at the same time, it's something to keep in mind. If you need quick access and you're not willing to put it in the back pouch here, which is the only quick accessible one, and not a great approach. Next thing, on the bad side here, unfortunately, so Saddleback offers free shipping on the way to you, which is nice, I suppose. But they're not offering free return shipping if it's something that you're not liking. They've got like a 30-day policy, but the thing is, if you're doing something that's this damned expensive and you stand behind your products, I feel like free return shipping is not a bad thing to offer. It's like you get it, you check it out. If it's in like new condition, then by God, just eat the damn shipping. You're paying $720 for this. You can eat some of that, guys. I'm sorry. And especially as good as this is, I feel like the maker should be able to say, you know what? If you don't like it, yeah, send it back. That just feels a little bit nickel and dimey, and the way they put it on their website is, we're still a small business, so we can't afford that. Like, guys, you're charging me $720 for this. You can afford that. Maybe I'm ignorant of their business situation, but if you're doing luxury stuff like that, damn it, don't try and rip me off on that. Not a big deal, but it's a deal. One thing that is a big deal, because it is quite literally big, is that this bag is freaking huge. I mean, seriously, this is ginormous. When my buddy Nathan took it out at the freaking restaurant where we're sitting there to look at this, it was just like, oh my God, that thing is ginormous. I had in my mind something more akin to the messenger bags that I generally carried. Are those around here? Where the heck is that guy? It's around here somewhere, but I assumed it was going to be something a little bit smaller than this, but no, this is a big freaking bag. You could fit a 17-inch laptop, come back for more, but the thing is, it ends up feeling kind of comically large on me. I am not a small individual. I'm like 5'11". I am broad-shouldered. I am not a tiny man. But carrying this guy honestly it looks like I stole Daddy's briefcase and took it to elementary school. I mean, it's great for transporting everything, but it's really intense size-wise. And honestly, the very first day of carrying this guy, I just realized, okay, this bag is just way too big for me. I can't do it in the long run. And the other thing to remember with a bag like this, and it's designed to be this capacious, is that it's not a great idea, ergonomically speaking, to support a huge amount of weight on just one shoulder. It's not a good plan. There's a reason backpacks are like that. And folks in the military or, humping 150 pounds worth of gear aren't throwing it over one shoulder every day. So if you're thinking about this in terms of, well, I need all that size, you need to ask yourself whether an over-the-shoulder bag is really the way you want to go, or whether you want to do something else, because your back is not going to love you if you're filling this guy up every day and carrying it around. I mean, maybe if you're freaking Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, yeah, it doesn't matter to you, but the thing is, this is big, and unfortunately, something this big, when full, can get really ugly ergonomically speaking, so do keep that in mind. Then finally, on the bad side, the price on this guy is huge. This is $720. Now look, that'll put it out of range for many. At the same time, though, I think the target market for this are going to be people who are also spending obscene amounts of money on the other parts of their everyday carry gear. I mean, I'm wearing a $700 watch at the moment, and how can I really complain about a bag? But that's still going to put it out of range for a lot of people, and frankly, it's a lot of freaking money. Saddleback has become a boutique brand, and in fact, they did a price hike a couple of years ago that really cemented that. But the thing is, and the quality is mostly there, but the fact is that $720 for a bag, particularly one that's not made in the USA, that's a common misconception. You can see right in here, maybe, I hope, down there it says made in Mexico. And this is a Mexican-made bag. Not that there's anything wrong with making a bag in Mexico, but that's a kind of price point at which I think a lot of people might make that assumption, and it's not particularly warranted. So, to me, at least, that is not great. The fact that this is that damned expensive, no matter where it's made, is just, that's not great overall. Holy crap, that's a lot of money. And so, to me, that's what's bad here, is that the price on this guy is huge. It's $720, which will put it out of the range of a lot of folks. This much bulk on one single shoulder is not necessarily a great idea ergonomically, and it is gigantic, absolutely huge. They don't cover return shipping, even though the price is that high. It is slow to access things, particularly in these inner pockets where you have to unbuckle and then unbuckle again. And backpack mode does require you to take off pads, unbuckle straps, etc., rather than be in a quick transition. On the ugly front, there's only one really ugly thing here, and that is the fact that this is really, really heavy. Now, they make no, they put the weight right on the website. They say, yeah, of course it's heavy. It's thick leather. That's great. But the fact of the matter is that this is 7.5 pounds empty. This was heavier empty than my last bag was full. And so, unfortunately, it kind of acts like a bulk multiplier. Like, you have a certain amount of stuff that you carry every day. And if you watch my channel, that's probably a fair amount of stuff. That's just the way we tend to work. But this was honestly really noticeable. Like, when you throw this guy on your shoulder empty, it feels like, holy cow, it's just going to get worse. And I get that thick leather is heavy. I get that it's well built, and I get that that's sort of the nature of the beast, unless they fill the damn thing with helium, and even then, it's not going to get any lighter. But, whoa, that's something to keep in mind. And that really caught me off guard, and that ended up really kind of making this a little bit more problematic for me. So, that to me is like what's ugly here, is that this is just really, really heavy, and that can be kind of problematic. Final conclusions. Look, at one level, this is a really nice bag. Actually, at a bunch of levels, it's a really nice freaking bag. Because it's well made, it's capacious, it's classy, it's durable, and it feels just very well made, and it makes a very big statement. Style-wise, fashion-wise, this is a thing. Absolutely 100%. A very big statement. But it's also huge. It's also slow to access, it's bulky, it's heavy, and it is eye-wateringly expensive. And in fact, there are really two deciding factors here. If you're thinking about this and going, do I want to buy one of these? There are two questions you got to ask yourself. First off, the weight. Go take whatever, the way to decide this is to go take whatever it is that you're carrying now, whatever bag, put everything that you want to carry on a regular basis in it, and then add 7.5 pounds minus the weight of whatever your bag weighs right now, and throw it in over one shoulder, because you're probably not backpacking this super regularly. And then see if you're happy. And you might be happy at first, but then try it all day. Just throw that extra 7.5 pounds in there and just, do some books or something, and then just carry that around for a week. And if you're still happy about it, if you're still like, yeah, this is perfectly manageable, then go ahead and get this bag. The weight's not going to bother you. But at least for me, that was definitely a factor. The other thing is the price. Price-wise, like I said, $720 is a huge amount of money. I mean, I don't think it's patently unreasonable to spend big money on something you're going to use every day. I mean, if you have this guy for 10 years, which I think is pretty reasonable for a lot of folks, it's like 20 cents a day. It's still major money, but it's not all that crazy. The thing is, though, it needs to be worth it. Holy crap, this is a perfection price. At $720, this had better be freaking perfect. They need to provide that level. And I don't feel like this is far from perfect, by the way. There are no areas where I'm looking at this and going like, yeah, you skimped. Yeah, you cut a corner. Those kinds of things that really kill these high prices, I think this is fine. But they are just not allowed to have even the smallest of slip in quality. And they are not allowed to cut any corners at these prices. They need to be providing great leather with great stitching and perfect finishing. I mean, look, leather is a natural material. You will see imperfections, and over time, you will beat on it because you will be carrying it. That's a simple fact of life. But it does need to, all the parts that they're doing when you get it need to be perfection. If they send you anything less than abject excellence at this kind of a price point, you need to send it right back to them. Because boutique prices, if they're going to go there, demand boutique perfection. And they just need to make sure they're in line with that. But, look, price-wise, like I said, it'll make sense for some people. It won't make sense for others, but they just make sure it's perfect. That's all I have to say there. For me, honestly, this particular bag, the front pocket briefcase, was not the right choice. Like I said, it was just too big and too heavy. Looked like I'd borrowed Daddy's briefcase. But the second day that I had it, I also knew that I loved what they were doing here, and I wanted something similar. I wanted to see, whether over the long term, this kind of a thing would work well for me. And whether their new stuff measured up, because I also had heard about the time of troubles. And so I want to thank very much, actually, my Patreon patrons who let me take this kind of a bath without concern and let me order this guy, which is a smaller version. This is the slim laptop briefcase here, just fresh out of the freaking box. Haven't even brought it to work one day yet, just arrived. The thing is, it's much more my size, my style, my color, etc. But it'll allow me to give a really long-term review, and as well as it allowed me to evaluate, okay, how's the stitching? Stitching looks pretty damn good. How's everything else? How's the leather? Leather looks pretty damn good. How's the weight? A little less. That's great, etc. And so that'll allow me to do that. But this guy was just a little bit much. That said, for you, this is absolutely a really nice bag. I mean, you have to know what you're getting into. You've got to be willing to spend big money. You've got to make sure that they're delivering the kind of perfection that price demands. And you've got to know that this is one really beefy briefcase. But if you're okay with all of that and you love the style, then I think you should go for it. And it's nice to know that they'll have you saddled back if anything ever happens to it. So there you go. Hope this has been interesting to you and that you have yourselves just an absolutely wonderful rest of your day. Bye now.